Hi, Laurelwood Lions. It's me, Miss Reynolds. We are back again for another chapter of our One School, One Book, Almost Super. And if you guys have had me as a teacher before, know me at all, have been in my classroom, you know that this is my jam, that I love me some superheroes. So this book is like, I'm loving it, loving every second of it. All right, so today we'll be reading chapter 8. We don't even have a taco night. Juanita grabbed us both by our collars. She might have looked small and fragile, but in an instant, she took two short steps and threw us into the bushes. I expected to be stopped by limbs and branches, but instead, I fell through the foliage into an opening between the bushes and the wall of the school. Juanita had us trapped. I turned my back against the wall, bracing for her attack. Juanita crouched on her hands and knees. I could see white mist escaping from her mouth as she panted. What were you saying in there about not being villains? Her voice sounded sarcastic. And remind me, who just destroyed the school library? I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. Benny jumped to my rescue. Well, we wouldn't have had to destroy it if you hadn't tried to smash us. Juanita glared. In a much smaller voice, Benny said, Do you think Mr. Wells is going to be mad? Oh, I think everyone's going to be mad, Bailey, Juanita said. The only reason I don't turn you in right now is because I might give away my secret identity. Juanita turned her head and spit. Does your mouth ever dry out with all that spitting you do? I asked. Juanita didn't bother answering. Well, we'll probably have to tell the librarian, Benny said. Clearly, Juanita's mind games were working. That would be the right thing to do. We were defending the school from a villain, I said, looking directly at Juanita. We can't tell the librarian without explaining that we're superheroes. Super villains, Juanita said. Superheroes. Super villains. Superheroes. Can I say something? Benny asked. Juanita shrugged. I'm not your teacher. You can talk whenever you want. Benny cleared his throat. I got my superpower on Monday, and it's worthless. I looked over at my brother in horror. Juanita's face went dark. Her eyes narrowed, and for a moment, she looked like a snake about to strike. What did you just say? He didn't say anything. Benny, don't say another word. Benny, of course, went right on talking. My power lets me turn my belly button from an innie to an outie. He got on his knees and lifted his shirt. With a soft pop, his belly button became an outie. Another pop, and it became an innie. That's my superpower. I couldn't help it. I slapped myself on the forehead. Now Juanita knew we were powerless, or rather, that Benny was powerless. I could still try and bluff. If you try and hurt him, I said, doing my best to sound threatening, my power is. I realized I should have thought of fake power earlier. I can shoot microwaves out of my eyes. Benny looked surprised. Microwaves? Wouldn't that hurt when they came out? They're all big and square. Not the appliance, Benny, I said, just the waves, like on taco night when I melted all that cheese for your nachos with my eyes. We don't even have taco night. I couldn't read Juanita's face. She looked at Benny for a long time. Her face seemed to soften, and I realized for the first time that when she wasn't scowling or spitting, Juanita almost looked really pretty. When she finally spoke, her voice was quiet. That was very brave of you, Benny Bailey. Almost after, almost as an afterthought, she turned her head and spit. Thank you, Benny said. And then before I could stop him, Rafter's real power is that he can light matches on polyester. Benny! Juanita looked from Benny to me. Her face softened a little bit more. I got a worthless power too. At last, I'd caught her in a lie. We saw you, I said, at the museum. You have all those powers. My aunt is a light shifter, Juanita said. Do you have one of those? Benny nodded. We have a cousin in Oak City who's a light shifter. She bends light and can make herself look like anybody she wants. And she can disguise people who are nearby too. One time for Halloween, she gave me a mustache and an extra set of armpits so I could. Benny, I said, not now. Juanita continued. My aunt went to the museum and made it appear as if I was there. She took turns making each person look like me. I was home in bed. We did it to confuse your family. That's also why my uncle came to teach our algebra class, to protect me from you two. My mind was spinning. She had to be lying. The bookcases, I said. They were closing in on us. How did you disable the safety mechanism? Juanita looked at me like I was crazy. I didn't disable anything. The shelves only close when there is no one standing on the ground. If you two wouldn't have started climbing shelves like monkeys, you wouldn't have had any problems. I felt a little more than silly. I had a million questions, but I ended up asking only one. If you're not a super, I asked, what is your power? Juanita leaned towards me. Our noses were almost touching. I could feel her breath on my face. I smelled ginger and cinnamon. An electric buzzer cut through the cold air. I couldn't help but jump. Lunch is over, Juanita said. I have to go to PE. And with that, Juanita Johnson turned and crawled out of the bushes. Oh, I can't wait to see what's next. Chapter 9 looks like a good one. Well, thanks for staying, hanging, reading with me, Laurelwood. Enjoy the rest of One School, One Book.